Hello YouTube, thank you for tuning into my channel. This is Azrael, and in this video we are going to be talking more about sigils. I have a video on sigils on how to create them, which is the very popular video of mine, and it pulls from the traditional write out your intent and then eliminate letters and then draw a sigil using the letters. We're going to be talking about two different ways to create sigils that I like. Now, in that other video, I hint at something called the rose cross, and I even said how people make sigils out of birth charts, astrological birth charts. Well, this is a very simple one. It's called a witch's wheel, and this is what I've been using for the most part here recently. It looks like this. Okay, it's just the English alphabet starting at A, and it goes all the way around, stopping at M. Another circle starting at the next letter N, goes all the way around, stopping at U, and then of course one more circle V, going all the way around. Now, all right, this is basically a diagram. With these sigils, well, you need a diagram. Now, there are things called planetary squares, planetary squares, and you can even make them on this. But you got to learn a little language first, right? Nothing complex, and I'm going to show it to you here. Okay, the sigil language of making them on graphs. Okay, let's say, okay, here's my name on YouTube, Azrael. Okay, now in traditional sigil making, if you can call it traditional, they eliminate all. Most people eliminate vowels and double letters. Now, when I use a name, if I'm doing like a person's name, because a name is so short, I tend to keep in the vowels and sometimes even the double letters. It's whatever your preference is. Now, the reason again why I do this with names is because I don't like too simple sigils. I like my sigils to have a couple angles, right? It's just, it's just me. So, however, if I, like say, have a full statement of intent, like I have a job, I will in fact eliminate the vowels, and I will eliminate repeat words to come up with just a handful of letters, which then I will create on that wheel. Now, this is how this language goes, okay? The little black dot or the little round dot, doesn't matter. You could have it in any kind of color ink, maybe even the kind of color ink that has your intention, right? But that little dot signifies the very first letter after of the name or the phrase that you have condensed. And quite literally, you'll go from that and play connect the dots with the with the letters, right? To create your word or phrase. And once it's done, you make that little line there to like a T to state that's the last letter in the phrase or name. Okay, so basically, I would start with the A. Okay, and then of course I will play connect the dots and take this and go straight to the Z. Okay, and then of course I would find the R, and I might make it at an angle to go straight down R and play the connect the dots, right? And then do so. Now, since I keep the vowels and names because they're so short, I could go straight back up to A and then go back down, but I'm eliminating the extra letter just to make it simple. Then so I will go from here to E and then straight back up to L and then I'll make that little uh, line to make that T. Now here's another thing that you can do. Um, this isn't seen very often, but it is used, and just let you know what it can mean. If you ever come across a sigil that has been made on any kind of diagram, like the wheel, like I showed you, or even the rose cross, that's been written in English as opposed to Hebrew, which is usually the rose cross is usually written in Hebrew, and that's heavily used in ritual, ritual magic for like angelic names. Okay, but in any case, see that little line, that little double M, that little hump, that's usually added to signify that there is a double letter there. Okay, or it might not even be there. Let's say, like, see, as an Azrael, there it's not there. I could go straight back up and go there, but because to me that just looked tacky, I just left that one out. But if I could easily add the hump, and say if there was an extra, well, that was an E over here. Let's say if there was an extra vowel or there, I could just add that little hump to indicate that there's a double letter within the name or phrase. That does not necessarily mean that it has to be right next to it, if you follow. So, like, say if I wrote the word will, you know, I don't have to make the double L right there. So I hope you understand this. It just indicates that there's a double letter within that phrase or that name. Again, it doesn't have to be exactly within the path, or you could just eliminate that M and just go straight to that letter again. Okay. So anyway, that's nuance. But now you know it's just a simple. This is called a witch's wheel. It's found online, and you know, drawing these on candles to me look a lot cooler than just writing out names and so forth. And of course, again, if you're going to do it like a full phrase, just condense it down to the basic letters and do it from there. Now, that's it. The other one is a little bit more complex, because you have to take visualization. This is channeling a sigil. Okay. This is when you believe your spirit guide or spirit that you're talking to, or even just the universe itself, gives you the sigil in your head. Okay. And how the technique is fairly simple, but it still takes some practice sometimes. Okay. And this is what we're going to do. And this is very important because you got to have emotional intent, right? You're going to relax. You're going to get in a meditative state. You're going to breathe in a couple of times, make sure your body's relaxed. Maybe got some incense going, maybe some gentle music. But you're going to visualize what you want. Let's say you're going to create a sigil to find a new lover. Well, you get into that meditative state, and then you basically uh, picture, let it, get in depth, and until you get an emotional response. Once you get that emotional response, and you're like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I want, and you start getting that spark of intention or inspiration going, right, you're going to empty your mind. Like if you're, say you was visualizing walking on the beach with your new boyfriend or girlfriend, and it sparked, yeah, that's what I want. Clear your mind, but hold on to that emotional state. Have that emotional state locked in. So you're meditating now, or visualizing, but you have a clear mind. Just like let it all go except for the emotional state. Now this is important. Keep that emotional state, and then let whatever images come to you within that time frame. So let's say it's a weird, weird ass image. Don't have to make any sense. All right, let's say That popped in your head. Don't have to make sense. That's your sigil. That's your sigil for that. Holding on to that emotional intent, and you just let that symbol come to you. Or this is where it can get trickier. Let's say you saw a bird with its wings outstretched in your meditative state after you got that emotional intent and you're already inspired. Well, maybe it's saying you're trying to have something that might look like a bird wing in your sigil. Okay. If you have to question it more than an initial, is this what it means? If you have to really think upon it, you're probably overthinking it. Okay. So you can visually see it in your meditative state to write down what you're wanting, but you could also employ what's called automatic writing. Now, of course, this is where more of the uh, practice takes, because you basically, literally, while your mind is blank and you're feeling emotional about your intention, you just let your hand just go away. Just make marks or symbols on the paper, you know, and then you take this as a template and then you redraw it thinking about your intention and so forth, and make it look like the way you want it to look like using these symbols that came to you uh, in your head. It's actually very simple. A lot of people, especially starting out, think that this is like some kind of deep mystery. It's really that simple. But the key point is you have to set your intention and you have to focus on that intention. And then once you get the emotional response, which makes the connection, and also it's partially, and especially in sigils, what helps make the magic happen is the intention and the emotional energy you're putting into it. So once you got that down and you clear your head, but you're still emotionally inspired, then you start drawing down what comes to you. And that is how you make a sigil channeled from whatever source you think it's coming from, which again, that's up to you. If you think it's coming from God or an angel or your spirit guide, whatever deity that you ask for help, you know, if you're asking for love, maybe you're praying to a goddess of love in whatever pantheon. And there you go. All right. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Me and my wife are still trying to do the animal rescue thing. It's not going too well, so we're probably might have to do something else. Well, in any case, thank you for watching.